She hasn't even played a single point. Not one serve. Not one rally. Not one winner. And yet, Alex Eala has already achieved something that almost sounds impossible. Something that three of the greatest champions in tennis history, Roger Federer, Rafael Nadal, and Novak Djokovic, never managed to do before stepping onto the court. Think about that for a second. Between them, those legends collected dozens of Grand Slam titles, rewrote the history books, and built careers that defined an entire generation of tennis. But before their first match in Toronto, none of them created the kind of ticket demand this 21-year-old Filipina just did. The seats disappeared. The night session sold out. Thousands of fans rushed to secure their place before Alex Eala had even unpacked her tennis bag. And suddenly, one question started spreading across the tennis world. What exactly is happening in Toronto? Because this isn't just excitement anymore. It's something much bigger. The National Bank Open usually follows a familiar rhythm. Early round weekday matches attract loyal tennis fans, families, and local spectators looking to enjoy an evening of world-class tennis. The atmosphere is always good. But sellouts before the featured player even hits a ball? That's rare. Very rare. Yet everything changed the moment tournament organizers confirmed that Alex Eala would headline Wednesday night session. Within hours, ticket demand exploded. Fans weren't waiting to see who she might face later in the tournament. They weren't buying tickets for a potential semifinal or championship match. They wanted to be there from the very beginning, before her Toronto campaign had officially started. And according to reports from people familiar with tournament ticket trends, one fact immediately stood out. The overwhelming demand wasn't driven by the tournament itself. It was driven by one name: Alex Eala. That alone tells you this story is no longer just about rankings or recent victories. It's about something far more powerful. It's about connection. For years, tennis has been built around global superstars. Roger Federer packed stadiums. Rafael Nadal inspired millions. Novak Djokovic dominated nearly every major tournament he entered. Their achievements changed the sport forever. But even with all those accomplishments, early round weekday sessions rarely became must-see events simply because they were scheduled to play. Alex Eala has suddenly created that kind of anticipation before reaching the peak of her career. She's only beginning her journey. No Grand Slam trophies, no world #1 ranking, no decade-long legacy. Yet thousands of people are already organizing their week around one opportunity: to watch her play. That isn't normal. And that's exactly why tennis insiders have started paying attention. Because moments like these don't happen by accident. They happen when a player becomes larger than the sport itself. But if you've been following Alex over the past several months, Toronto didn't appear out of nowhere. The signs have been growing stronger with every tournament she entered. Earlier this season at the Australian Open, organizers initially placed her opening match on one of the smaller outside courts. On paper, it looked like an ordinary scheduling decision. Reality turned into something completely different. Long before the first serve, crowds began gathering around the court. The walkways became packed. Fans continued arriving faster than security could comfortably manage. People stood shoulder to shoulder hoping for even a small glimpse of the young Filipina creating headlines around the world. The demand quickly exceeded expectations. Suddenly, what looked like a routine first-round match became one of the busiest attractions of the day. Even experienced tennis observers admitted they hadn't expected such an overwhelming turnout. It was an early reminder that Alex Eala wasn't attracting attention the traditional way. She was building something organic, something emotional, something personal. And then came another surprise. Online. While some of tennis' biggest established stars prepared quietly for the tournament, Alex's media appearances began drawing extraordinary interest. Fans wanted interviews, practice clips, press conferences. Every update spread rapidly across social media. Every new appearance generated thousands of conversations. It wasn't simply tennis fans anymore. Filipinos around the world had started following every step of her journey. Students, families, healthcare workers, professionals living thousands of miles from home. Many weren't lifelong tennis followers. They were following because Alex represented something bigger than match results. She represented possibility. For countless supporters, watching Alex wasn't just supporting an athlete. It felt like supporting their own story. That feeling only became stronger as the season continued. In Dubai, the cheering for Alex echoed through the venue every time she stepped onto the court. At Wimbledon, the sea of Philippine flags became impossible to ignore. Every major tournament seemed to tell the same story. Different country, different stadium, same incredible support. Wherever Alex traveled, her fans somehow found her. And they didn't just clap politely between points. They transformed entire sections of the stadium. The chants became louder. The energy became different. Players noticed. Commentators noticed. Tournament organizers noticed. Because suddenly every Alex Eala match carried an atmosphere that felt unlike almost anyone else's. And that momentum eventually reached Washington, the tournament where everything changed forever. Winning a WTA title is already one of the hardest achievements in professional tennis. Doing it while defeating elite opponents makes it even more impressive. Alex didn't simply survive her draw, she kept growing stronger. Each match added another layer of confidence. Each victory convinced more people that this wasn't a lucky run. This was the arrival of a genuine contender. By the time she lifted the championship trophy, tennis wasn't asking whether Alex belonged among the world's best anymore. People had started asking something much bigger. How far can she actually go? That question followed her onto the plane heading for Canada. She barely had time to celebrate. Recovery, travel, media responsibility, practice. Another tournament waiting almost immediately. Professional tennis rarely gives players time to enjoy success. One event ends, the next challenge begins, and Toronto was waiting. But what happened after her arrival surprised even seasoned tennis reporters. Because before Alex Eala could hit her first official shot, the fans had already delivered a statement loud enough for the entire tennis world to hear. And what happened next would prove this wasn't just another popular player. It was the beginning of something people were already calling a global phenomenon. But here's where the story becomes even more extraordinary. Toronto isn't just another stop on the tennis calendar. For Alex Eala, it feels almost like a second home. The Greater Toronto Area is home to one of the largest Filipino communities outside the Philippines. Hundreds of thousands of Filipinos have built their lives there, creating a community that stays deeply connected to its roots. So when Alex's name appeared in the tournament draw, something special happened. For many families, this wasn't simply a chance to watch professional tennis. It became a chance to support someone who represents their culture, their pride, and their dreams on one of the biggest stages in sports. That's why the atmosphere surrounding her matches feels different. Every Philippine flag in the crowd tells a story. Every chant carries emotion. Every standing ovation feels personal. Alex isn't just playing in front of fans. She's playing in front of people who genuinely believe they're watching history unfold. And that support has become impossible for the tennis world to ignore. Former players, broadcasters, tournament officials, they've all started noticing the same thing. Alex brings audiences that professional tennis rarely reaches. People who may never have watched an entire tennis tournament before suddenly find themselves learning rankings, following draws, and waking up in the middle of the night just to watch one player compete. That's incredibly rare. Most athletes inherit an existing fanbase. Alex has been creating an entirely new one. Every tournament introduces thousands of fresh viewers to the sport. And those viewers don't disappear after one match. They keep coming back, because they've become invested in her journey. That's exactly how movements begin. Not with marketing campaigns, not with advertisements, but with genuine connection. Perhaps the biggest reason fans admire Alex isn't only because she wins. It's because of how she carries herself. After one of her biggest victories, she was asked what it feels like to receive so much love from Filipinos around the world. Many players would have spoken about personal achievements, about rankings, about trophies. Alex chose a different path. Instead of making the moment about herself, she shifted the spotlight toward her supporters. She spoke about the Filipino people. She thanked them for believing in her. She reminded everyone that every victory belongs not only to the player holding the racket, but also to the community standing behind that player. That simple answer spread across social media almost instantly. Because authenticity is difficult to fake. People recognize it, and they remember it. Of course, emotional support alone doesn't win tennis matches. Toronto presents a completely different challenge. Waiting across the net is another dangerous opponent with her own ambitions. No one reaches this level by accident. Every player in the draw has the ability to produce brilliant tennis. Alex understands that better than anyone. She has experienced painful defeats before. She's learned difficult lessons. She's walked off courts disappointed. But those setbacks have never defined her. Instead, they've become stepping stones. Each difficult match has sharpened her decision-making. Each loss has strengthened her mental toughness. Each tournament has added another layer to her confidence. That's why the version of Alex arriving in Toronto isn't the same player who struggled earlier in the season. She's faster, calmer, more patient under pressure. And perhaps most importantly, she now believes she belongs with the very best. The draw ahead certainly won't be easy. Every round has the potential to become a battle. One lapse in concentration can change everything. One brilliant opponent can end a dream. That's the reality of professional tennis. There are no easy victories, no guaranteed paths. Every match has to be earned, point by point, game by game, set by set. Alex knows that. Her coaching team knows that. And her fans know it too. That's why expectations remain balanced. The goal isn't perfection. The goal is progress. To continue proving that Washington wasn't a magical week. It was the beginning of a completely new chapter. And maybe that's the most exciting part of this entire story. Alex herself doesn't talk like someone who's already accomplished everything. She talks like someone who's only getting started. After her recent success, she explained that every tournament continues teaching her new lessons. Every opponent helps her improve. Every challenge pushes her forward. That mindset explains why her progress has accelerated so quickly. She's never satisfied, never comfortable, always searching for the next improvement, the next opportunity, the next level. Champions often share one characteristic: they celebrate victories for only a moment before focusing on the next challenge. Alex already seems to understand that mentality, and at only 21 years old, that's a frightening thought for everyone else on tour. So now imagine the scene. Thousands of fans filling every seat, Philippine flags waving throughout the stadium, children wearing Alex Eala shirts, families cheering together, the noise growing louder with every announcement. Then, the stadium lights dim. The tunnel entrance comes into view. Alex Eala walks onto the court. Before the first serve, before the warm-up is even complete, the roar says everything. She hasn't won a point. She hasn't played a game. Yet an entire arena is already behind her. That's something statistics can't measure. It's something rankings can't explain. It's belief. And belief can become incredibly powerful. Whether Alex lifts another trophy this week or not, one thing has already become clear. She is no longer just another promising young player. She has become one of the biggest attractions in women's tennis. A player capable of filling stadiums, capturing international attention, and inspiring millions of people who see their own dreams reflected in her journey. What started on the courts of Manila has now reached the biggest stages in the world. Australia witnessed it. Dubai felt it. Wimbledon embraced it. Washington celebrated it. And now, Canada is experiencing it firsthand. Alex Mania is no longer a prediction. It's a reality. And if her journey continues at this pace, Toronto may only be the next chapter of a story that is still being written. Because this isn't the end of something special. It may actually be the beginning of an era. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications. We bring you the biggest moments, unforgettable stories, and the most inspiring journeys from the world of tennis. Stay with us, because Alex Eala's next chapter could be even bigger than the last.